Welcome to the Post Shift Podcast, your raw look at the hospitality industry, brought to you by SHC. What is happening, Post Shifters? Welcome back to another episode of the Post Shift Podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Soole. This week, after last week's episode with Jim Taylor, if you haven't listened to it, Bold Operations, you've got to read that book. It's a fantastic book about mental health, staff retention, staff training, onboarding. It's a really, really, really fantastic book. Just go get it. So this week, I want to talk about training and staff retention. This is actually a quote from Jim that he posted on LinkedIn, is that we don't have a staff shortage problem, we have a staff retention problem. And it's very, 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 very true. So what I want to talk about today is training. And over many, many years, I've done tons of training sessions, like on a Monday afternoon. Let's talk about gin, let's talk about Amara, let's talk about XYZ. And they're great. They're good little sessions. I see a lot of bars do it. It's fantastic to have your team on board like that. And gain that sort of knowledge. But when I took back over Clive's in 2020, I really wanted to build something that was certification heavy. I think certifications are a tangible retention tool that you can use to keep your staff motivated and on board for a long time. A lot of my team have been with me 3-4 years. I'm going to break down exactly what I do for training at Clive's for each one of my staff members. Now, my place is a little bit different. We're unionized. If you have your own place and you want to implement a training program like this, I would suggest giving a maximum dollar figure to what you would pay a bartender or a server outside of the minimum wage, and then build in from that top number that you're willing to pay down to minimum wage sections that when they finish a certain course load, they get a raise. This is just the bonus, or the congratulations on the program and finishing it up, and they can continue up until they get to their maximum level over a space of 2 years or a space of 18 months, depending on how you want to run it. So as soon as someone gets hired at Clive's, we do something called Bar Smarts. It's just online. It's a nice little 8-hour sort of course. We pay for them to do the 8-hour course. It's about $29, and it gives them a nice baseline in bartending, cocktails, classics, all this sort of stuff. Super straightforward, super simple. You can definitely build it into like your onboarding process. Second up, we do Edinburgh Whiskey Academy certifications. I cannot tell you enough how great the Edinburgh Whiskey Academy certifications are. They are fantastic, really deep dive sessions on the spirit. So they do gin, Irish whiskey, and Scotch. Really fantastic deep dive programs. To be honest, for not a lot of money. Like, they're very affordable, that you can really bang out thing. They're all online. What I do, just a little one step forward, is that I give it to my team to do online, and then I will sit down with them and do a flight of whiskey, gin thing. Sometimes I'll go through the program with them, so we'll get set up a projector screen, and we'll go through slide by slide. But 9 times out of 10, I really want to focus on that tasting panel so that they understand, like, if it's Irish whiskey, what an Irish pot still whiskey tastes like compared to an Irish blended whiskey tastes like. So it's just an added extra I do. Those courses sit around about $179, $139, $179, depending on the price. So it's not really that much. And so we do those over a space of maybe 4 to 6 months. And then after their 1 year anniversary, they do WSET 1. So they do WSET 1 after their first year anniversary, and that's around about $378. So WSET 1 is spirits, either online or in the classroom, depending on where you are in your city. So total cost for that, for one staff member for the year, is about $910, $904. So $904 for one staff member. You've given them incentives to do the course. Now I pay for the course, but I don't pay for the labor for them to do the course. So it is on their own, but they do have a union pay. But if you're going to be doing it as an independent, then you can bump up their pay a little bit, 25 cents, 50 cents an hour, whatever. You can build this in so that you're spreading out this sort of incentive plan for them to be more knowledgeable, which will help you with your per head spend and your sales, increase their knowledge to better suit their customer, the customer that you have coming through your doors, and just give them the confidence and be able to talk about these things, especially when it comes to cocktail development and stuff. They'll know what certain flavors taste like. So $905 for the first year of operations. Now, if you keep someone for 1 year, that $905 is pretty much already paid for itself just in the retention of keeping them for 1 year. Industry standard says that most people will leave their job in the hospitality industry after 52 days, which I was blown away when I heard that. 1 year, if you can get that much work done in 1 year, this is fantastic. We're talking about maybe 14 months because WSET's going to be after their 1 year anniversary. After the 2nd year anniversary, we've slotted them into WSET 2 in spirits. So that's just around about $750. Again, so the 2nd year, you're looking at about $750 per person. So if you've got staff that have been there for 2 years, again, it pays for itself. Your per head spend is going to go up. The knowledge of your staff are going to go up. Recommendations, upsells, all these things all lead in from this training program. After WSET 2, I always sit them down and talk about specializations. Like, what do you want to specialize in? Cognac, Armagnac, that sort of thing. There's not a lot of courses out there specifically for some more niche spirits. There is one for agave. The Agave Institute of the US is fantastic. So, and same thing with, I'm lucky enough that I'm an executive bourbon steward. And so I am able to certify 10 of my staff as bourbon stewards, and I do the course. So they all get bourbon stewardship. That sits around about $98 because it is in the US, but it's $500 US for your establishment to get certified. And your establishment goes onto newsletters and up on websites and stuff like that with bourbon, with Stave and Thief out of Louisville, which is a fantastic course as well. If you're going to go to Louisville, do a course, do the Stave and Thief Executive Bourbon Stewardship. It will change your life on the way you look at bourbon. It's fantastic. I really, really love it. So, how much does this all cost me? I've already given you the numbers. For budgeting, which we talked about last week, budgets and that sort of thing, I like to spend somewhere in the region of 1%. 1% of my gross yearly sales gets spent on training. So that's not too much. I like to sit 1 to 2% is like sort of my sweet spot for spending on training, because that 1 to 2% is saving you money in staff retention. And I don't think enough people in the hospitality industry looks at how much it actually costs to replace a staff member, train a staff member, the amount of time it takes for you to interview, the amount of time it takes you to do multiple interviews, the amount of time it takes you to get that person trained up to a level that you're happy with. That's extra labor, like over and over and over again. So at the end of the day, staff retention should be the most thing you focus on. If you're spending 1 to 2% on training, it should be in your yearly budget. When you sit down and do your budgets for the year, it should be 1 to 2% is going to staff training, whether or not that's something that you've organized or something they can dip into, whether it be a fund. So you say 1 to 2% of my gross revenue goes into training, and the staff member can find themselves something that they want to do, if it's something that's good for the business, and they can use that fund to pay for that. So if you are looking at doing a training budget for next year, we're looking at budgets this next little while. So like 2024 is almost over. So if you're not really thinking about the end of your fiscal year for 2025, 2026, you should be looking at doing a 1 to 2% budget on training. So I'm going to put some links in the description so you can go and check out the courses from Edinburgh Whiskey Academy and from Stave and Thief and stuff. So, because there are fantastic courses that you should be looking at. And I have a lot of letters behind my name and my signature because I've done a whole bunch of training, a whole bunch of certifications. I still do certifications to this day as a bartender. But on that note, guys, thanks as always for your support.
Thanks for listening, Pose Shifters. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode. I really enjoy sitting down with friends and peers and just chatting about the industry and getting down to the nuts and bolts of what's really going on out there. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, everything on all the platforms. Just hit it up and I'll do my best to answer any queries or questions you have. I'll see you next week, guys. Bye.